During my childhood summers, there was not much that could get me to stop playing. Jumping on the trampoline, climbing on hay bales, trying to trick my friends into believing there was real pirate treasure buried in my suburban backyard. The possibilities were endless. Nothing could pull me away from my shenanigans, except for one sound that stopped me in my tracks every time. I look around, frantic, disoriented, squinting against the sun, unsure of what direction it was coming from as it echoed in the distance. Was it really here? The ice cream truck! Not to get all Seinfeld here, but what's the deal with those things, anyway? Hearing the telltale jingle of the ice cream truck slowly cruising around my neighborhood or chasing it down the road is a fond memory, of course, but in retrospect, like a lot of childhood normalcies, I think it might actually be just a little weird. There's pretty much no other business that can get away with parading its products through a residential street, and loudly at that, blasting excessively cheery nursery rhymes, all just to make a sale. What's almost crazier than the marketing itself, though, is that it works. I would have my money ready in hand, primed to buy an ice cream treat before I even saw the truck, never mind the menu, drawn out of my house because, well, I heard the music. That's just what you do. Did I even want ice cream? I mean, the answer was probably always going to be yes, but I didn't even stop to think about it. It was an actual Pavlovian response. To be fair, selling food items from a business on wheels is not a totally unique concept. There are lots of other trucks, vans, or carts for other types of products. But most modern food trucks and carts are stationary, working more as a rent-your-own portable catering vehicle instead of a come outside, it is now time to spend your money mobile. And generally speaking, most other door-to-door sales get kind of a bad rap. Solicitors, Girl Scouts, me trying to sell enough wrapping paper to win a limo ride in 3rd grade. The ice cream truck vendor might not knock on your door, but blasting music while parked at the edge of your driveway still comes pretty close. But nobody really cares because it's convenient, it's cheaper than Girl Scout cookies, and it's a summertime novelty. And these are pretty much all the same reasons that gave ice cream trucks their initial popularity too. Well, all of that and the Great Depression. Weirdly, kind of. But first, thanks to Opera for sponsoring this video. I have to admit, I am a tab hoarder. I usually have, at minimum, like 20 to 30 tabs open in my browser at any given time. It's a problem, I know, but what if I need them for something? Since I'm not gonna stop, I use Opera to make all my beautiful tabs just a little less chaotic. The Tab Islands feature lets me easily group, name, and color code all my various projects, interests, and, hobbies into their own islands, which makes me look really organized and productive, even though I'm not. And when I hyperfixate on one project at a time, I can also be efficient about syncing all my time into them by using split screen, dividing my screen into up to 4 windows and creating the perfect layout. When taking some time off, the video pop-out feature is perfect for keeping my important media on hand during my doom scrolling, since I can detach the video and place it wherever I want, even outside the browser. And all of this is done on a browser that I can totally customize. I fine-tuned the theme by adjusting colors and adding keyboard sounds. Make sure to click the link in the description or the pinned comment to download Opera for free so that you can have this much fun in your browser too. Thanks again to Opera for sponsoring, and now back to the video. Frozen desserts have been around for centuries, but up until the last couple centuries, ice and a convenient way to store it wasn't very accessible unless you were rich. Around the time that modern-day ice cream was becoming more accessible in the late 1800s, some of the earliest food trucks were emerging too, but the traveling caravans mostly sold food that could be easily preserved or quickly cooked, aka pretty much the exact opposite of a frozen luxury. But ice cream continued to grow in popularity on its own because it was a frozen luxury, especially enjoyable where it was available during a hot day in public spaces. And now, even more convenient after the invention of both the ice cream cone and ice cream sandwich in the early 1900s. The first commercially sold ice pops and ice cream bars also emerged in the early 20th century, so people could take their cones, popsicles, and bars wherever they wanted. look at that stick, it's so portable and fun. Getting ice cream was a relatively popular pastime during America's Prohibition era in the 1920s, widespread, cheap, and marginally more obtainable than illegal alcohol, especially when paired with soda from a soda bar. And while the Great Depression followed shortly after this initial boom, the economic downfall actually just increased ice cream's popularity when cheap and accessible luxury was in highest demand. So, the ice cream brand Good Humor, responsible for one of the first patented ice cream bars, catered to that demand by taking their products on the road. Some of the first Good Humor sales cars were attached with jingle bells to announce their presence and attract customers as they drove along. And over time, these simple bells evolved into the musical jingles that trucks are most known for today. So it's not my fault I can't resist the ice cream truck. The Pavlovian response has been passed down through the generations over 100 years. With enough success, the initial sales cars were followed by trucks, carts, bikes, and even a boat at one point, selling not just traditional scoops in cones, but pre-packaged Good Humor cones, ice cream bars, and sundaes. The brand became so popular and recognized for its mobile stores that it even spawned a feature-length film in 1950 that was all about the eponymous Good Humor Man. Post-World War II, as wartime milk and sugar restrictions were lessened, more companies adopted the business on wheels marketing strategy for their ice cream. Brands like Jack and Jill, Bungalow Bar, Dickie D's, and Wall's Ice Cream sold more pre-packaged stuff through carts and trucks, while other brands like Mr. Softy focused on soft serve. And Good Humor gradually expanded internationally under different names in other countries, so if you're not familiar with the name Good Humor, you might have still heard of Eskimo, Streets, HB, and Frigo. Single-serving prepackaged options were easier to store and serve for the vendor, even more portable and convenient for the customer, and was arguably just more fun to eat. So while scoop in cones definitely didn't go anywhere, prepackaged and stuck on stick became the standard for most ice cream trucks. Whatever form it came in, though, ice cream from a truck was guaranteed to be a hit in the mid-century. Various vendors found particular success selling in suburban areas to baby boomers and their kids, especially throughout the warmer months during spring and summer. After Good Humor sold all their trucks in 1978 and shifted to being only a distributor, independent vendors became more common. Instead of being loyal to just one brand, vendors could stock anything they wanted, which usually translated to the most eye-catching options to make a sale and led to the fun era of ice cream. I mean, ice cream has always been fun and has always been improved upon with new gimmicks and flavors, but into the 70s and 80s, the tried and true prepackaged ice cream bars and popsicles were especially versatile, innovating more by often mixing flavors, adding coatings, and even changing shapes. And this is what ice cream trucks are arguably best known for in modern years. Not just selling any boring old popsicle, but having a wide variety of interesting choices, something more exciting than what you could buy in the store, or that your parents wouldn't let you have a whole box of, if you could. Have you ever wanted to eat the idea of an ice cream cone, but it's actually just a bar in a fake cone? What about various body parts? A frozen foot, a fruity finger, or maybe a whole guy, some dude with a funny face? Get a little spooky with a vampire pop, or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And whoa, look, they've even got the bar. There are also various animals to choose from, or even just random shapes like the iconic rocket ships and firecrackers. They're not just fun to eat, but fun to look at, with all their different colors and themes. Gee, if only I could combine the joy of eating frozen treats with all my favorite characters from various licensed franchises. Yeah, that's right, they do that too. Printing a licensed character or logo on the front of really most things became increasingly popular in the 70s and 80s, and that of course did not stop at branding food items, including ice cream. Superheroes, cartoons, movies, TV shows, video games, just slap it on the label, maybe change a color or flavor here and there, and call it a day. Well, now the only thing that would make this better if all my favorite character guys weren't just pictured on the wrapper, but like were the ice cream. Oh, yeah, cool. Just like that. Characters molded into the shape of popsicles or stamped in as outlines on cookie bars were pretty commonly presented options, but the presentation is a little lacking. And what are you supposed to do with these after you're done? Just throw the stick away and call it a day? These options are good, but what the world really needed were character-shaped ice cream bars. It goes without saying that these licensed ice creams just hit different. There's more dimension, more color, and much more room for them to come out of the wrapper looking horribly wrong. And they've got gumballs for a post-ice cream snack. It's like 2 treats in one. This is a steal. Likely inspired by the Screwball, a sherbet-filled cone with a gumball at the bottom, gumball bars aren't limited to only being licensed characters. Some are more generic animals, shapes, or original faces like Australia's favorite creamy cowboy, Buffalo Bill. And some character bars don't include gumballs at all, especially early versions or international variants. But soon enough, after the first few hit the market circa the early 80s, it was rare, no, egregious, to find a US character bar that didn't have gumball eyes, noses, or stuck somewhere onto it, like on the big toe. The same themes that applied to molded popsicles applied to ice cream bars too. Superheroes, cartoons, movies, TV shows, video games, but now also anime, toys, and other celebrities. Looking back through the different bars from decades past is an interesting time capsule of media and peak pop culture, as only the most recognizable faces and motifs were turned into ice cream, a good gauge for recognizing that something was trending. To be immortalized on a popsicle stick truly meant that you had made it. Some frozen faces were as short-lived as their source material, fading into obscurity and becoming popsicle lost media, while some have stood the test of time, proving their franchise's relevance by being so popular that everyone wants to eat them. One of the most iconic examples is the SpongeBob ice cream bar. While he's arguably an icon on his own, he's become a classic for being one of the most recognizable and long-running bars, remaining in production since its debut in 2001. It's certainly what I think of first when picturing one of these things, and always remained in my top 3 choices when hitting the ice cream truck as a kid. But think of any other popular character from the last 40 years or so, and maybe even some of the not-so-popular ones, and there's probably an ice cream bar out there. A face, a logo, a general motif. I mean, look, there's even a Dream Jelly one. Just kidding. If you're listening though, Big Popsicle, I'm thinking blue raspberry and cotton candy for the flavor pitch. You just let me know if that's doable. I'll be waiting. Even though they make up for only a portion of a standard menu selection, these character bars have arguably become the face, pun intended, of ice cream trucks, what they're best known for and most chased down the street for. While these things have apparently been available in stores for an indeterminate amount of time, tracking down a particular face and actually being able to buy them hasn't always been so easy, especially when you're a kid and have $0. And in my experience, I don't think I ever saw any of these things beyond the ice cream truck, except maybe in the occasional freezer at a convenience store, so chasing down those telltale jingles through my neighborhood was especially vital for seizing a rare opportunity to consume my favorite character. The gumballs and their various placements can make for some especially unique-looking bars, turning characters wonky-eyed, one-eyed, or without eyes entirely. Not to mention the multi-eyed eldritch horrors, or half-melted gumballs that have probably inspired more than a few creepypastas. But on the other end of the spectrum, there are passionate ice cream enthusiasts and archivalists that are dedicated to hunting down rare and legendary perfect pulls that most resemble the mock-up on their wrappers. It's like a blind bag, if blind bags weren't just pseudo-gambling and you always won because you still got to eat whatever you revealed. As fun as the various gumball features can be, this is another one of those things that, after thinking about it for more than a couple seconds, makes me wonder why this combo of gum and ice cream exists. Don't get me wrong, I think of character bars very fondly, but I also recall risking breaking my little baby teeth when trying to chew on their eyes. The gumballs would get frozen solid and turned into gum-flavored rocks.
No, it's nice.
They were also prone to shattering while still in the package, or melting right off the stick and rolling down the sidewalk if you took too long to get to them. And even if you were lucky enough to properly enjoy the gumballs, the best case scenario was about 1 to 2 minutes of prime chew time and possibly a stained black-green mouth before they lost all their flavor anyway. And yet, all that being said, the gum is still good, because it's just part of the experience. Case in point, it was perfect until whoever changed it. We don't want this. Bring the gumballs back. It doesn't taste good at all. It makes it worse. Enjoying the gumballs. No, the gumballs. Boo. I do not recommend this product. All the outraged reactions to the original SpongeBob gumball eyes being taken away from us. It's bad enough that they got replaced at all, but the new eyes aren't even real chocolate. It just says chocolate-y. And the even smaller shrinkflation version of whoever that's supposed to be is even worse. Hashtag not my SpongeBob. There's, allegedly, a non-zero chance that the only reason for the change was to unnecessarily cut corners, and probably something about choking hazards, but I'm gonna blame the greed. I haven't eaten one of these things in probably 20 years, and I'm still very upset about this. If you're not into character bars and their choking hazards, there are still so many other choices. Almost everyone can find something that caters to their specific taste, texture, or licensed franchise preferences. Forget your Myers-Briggs type. Your go-to ice cream truck selection is the new personality test. What are you picking? Stick, spoon, squeeze, sandwich? Do you value flavor over novelty? Do you choose something practically shaped over something messy? Do you just pick the most sensible quantity over quality option to get the most bang for your buck? Or were you overwhelmed by choice and hit the randomize button every time? Please let me know what your go-to ice cream truck pick is/was, flavors, character bars, whatever it is. Then please refer to this handy-dandy alignment chart for your indisputable scientific results. Don't ask me what the correlation is exactly between dairy-free and pure evil. I don't have all the answers, I just made the chart. Conventional ice cream truck menus usually have a visual of each option so you can see what you're getting, and a bright yellow background is also pretty common, partially due to Good Humor and Popsicles' trademark logos. There's no real standard for all these menus though, so sometimes they're all polished and put together like this, but a lot of times they're just a collage of various items all randomly pieced together into a Tetris board. I get that these displays are likely the result of frequently rotating stock, but it still just looks a little janky. I like that it's a little chaotic though, it's part of the fun. And as far as the actual vehicles look, a simple white van or truck is among the most common type, something reminiscent of the original fleet of Good Humor trucks. But in the age of extravagant modern food trucks and more independent vendors than hired employees, there is no one way that an ice cream truck is supposed to look. Paint it different colors, put a giant ice cream cone on top, maintain an original Good Humor truck, or repurpose an old camper or school bus. Pretty much anything goes, as long as it's street legal and won't scare off all your customers. Which is more of an actual concern than a joke. Some of the less flashy or run-down vans can look really sketchy. My mom would not let me buy a chipwich from a car like this. And various other kinds of frozen dessert trucks have also become more common in the past few decades, which I feel like still count. Even though they're more ice cream adjacent than actual ice cream, there are a number of dedicated snow cone and shaved ice trucks out there, the brand I'm most familiar with being Kona Ice. Like a regular ice cream truck, it played music as it traveled through residential streets, but instead of chiming nursery rhymes, it was tropical handpan jingles. And to make an even more novel experience, it wasn't just shaved ice, but self-serve syrups, letting you mix any amount of as many flavors as you wanted. I've never even been too big on snow cones, but the sheer freedom of choice and power that this truck provided always had me probably overpaying for a cup of blue raspberry syrup with a side of ice. And circa the era of frozen yogurt in the 2010s, You could catch some traveling Froyo-mobiles driving around too, which also brought the novelty of self-serve right to your street. One of the best parts of ice cream trucks is that they're timeless, having been around for such a long time that they're pretty much part of everyone's childhood in some way or another, and are still around today. And what would a modern ice cream vendor be without more character bars, newly updated with only the coolest and most popular characters like Cocomelon Baby and Blippi? Regardless of if I personally resonate with Cocomelon Baby ice cream or not, I am still glad that the character bars are still going strong after so many years, and impressed at the legacy they've created in the process. Even though they were first made to cash in on licensed merchandise, in the modern age it seems their everlasting popularity has less and less to do with what face or figure they're even modeled after. People will always have their face preferences, of course, but it almost doesn't matter how much they resemble their original reference anymore, because they're now recognizable as one of those gumball-eyed ice cream bars first, and the character second. The finicky process of conveying a character through a slab of ice cream has created an inadvertent style and art medium of sorts. The particular shape, pattern, and wabi-sabi to it all has been routinely referenced and emulated across art, pop culture, and the internet. Along with existing for over 40 years, that is a true testament to how iconic the character bars are. Even if most people haven't eaten one of these things in years, they remain easily recognizable and fondly remembered, earning them a perpetual place in pop culture, 'cause they're more than just a dessert. At the end of the day though, it's not really about the ice cream, or your favorite character with bleeding gumball eyes, or your lactose intolerance. The average ice cream truck selection may not be as cheap or seem quite as novel anymore, but the experience is still a lot of fun. And above all else, the real best part about ice cream trucks, what continues to keep both their memories and active fleets alive, is the community they foster. When I'd run out clutching a couple dollars, searching for that whimsical melody playing down the road, I'd end up running into kids who lived in my neighborhood that I'd never even seen before. And even if I just continued eating my SpongeBob popsicle without giving them another thought, the simple joy of partaking in a summer treat with some faceless ice cream lovers during my childhood is one that I will always cherish. Hi, welcome to Jelly TV, where I shout out a video that I think deserves some love. I recommend watching The Forgotten My Little Pony stage show by Aiden Elizabeth. Stage shows based on children's franchises, which were rampant in the 2000s, is already an interesting concept, and even more so when they're semi-lost media. But Aiden is not just a chronicler of information on the 2007 My Little Pony stage show, but a boots-on-the-ground journalist, interviewing cast and crew members that performed with the show for exclusive info. Aiden also has an endearing passion for the subject as a puppet builder and puppeteer, and they document the artistry of stage shows and magic of beloved childhood media. If you're interested in the theater and absolute whimsy that this saga has in store, then you should give this video a watch and check out the rest of Aiden's channel. A huge thank you to DE from ABQ, Clank, Bunny, Bunzo, Karis Desarun, Chumby, Half Fictional, JCap Con Leche, Knuckleoso, Lojba Animal, Lou, Luna Stephenson, Mark Kent, Melted Patties, Nighttime Coral, Ollie E, Paper Sam, Pharmamax, Pixel Puppy, Shaples, Theodore Nicolawilius, Tish_Guy, and the rest of my patrons for supporting me.